I'm gonna hide in something. Because I want to come with.
I started getting tattoos when I was about 14, 15 years old. Its arrow is Tiawa's, or Tears rune in the Norse religion. What it actually signifies is the rune of justice, or the rune of the warrior. Within most white power skinheads, and within that subculture, it is a sign of warrior, but it also represents the willingness to kill for your race.
And so you were willing to do that?
Yes, I was willing to kill for the white race. I put it on my face to signify that to those who understood what it meant, basically. And those who didn't understand, well, they would learn soon enough. That was kind of the philosophy. I resigned myself to either prison or an early grave.
Bryon Widner first became a racist skinhead at the age of 14 in 1991. Over the next 16 years, he was a member of several notorious neo-Nazi skinhead organizations, such as the Outlaw Hammerskins, Blood and Honor, and the Vinlander Social Club.
My racial philosophy was we were the master race. White people were meant to rule the world. We created society, we created economics, we created everything. We were meant to rule, and therefore it was our God-given right to stand up and take what was ours. The white race was dying, it was getting bred out, so we needed to go to extreme measures to save our people.
And what did you consider extreme?
At the time, murder wasn't extreme. I mean, but, you know, it was kind of just one of those things that could happen. But now, hindsight, it was, you know, drive-bys, things like that would be very extreme.
We track a lot of the extremist organizations out there as they come across our desk, and of course the skinhead movement is one of the most violent. And we first saw Bryon pop up on our radar when he was involved in a lot of skinhead activities, going to functions, showing up in different intelligence photos that we were collecting. He was kind of the pit bull of the movement. He was an in-your-face type guy. He was loved to drink a beer, was very confrontational, and had a reputation of being an enforcer type personality.
I got the hate tattooed across my knuckles when I was about 15. I always liked the word hate. I thought it was real cool at the time. I was about 17 or 18 when I started getting swastikas and iron crosses and all that stuff on me. I really was embracing the whole Nazi skinhead thing at that time. The SS bolts, well, they kind of speak for themselves. You can't be a Nazi without a pair of SS bolts on you. Back in the day, in the late 80s and early 90s, you were required to actually earn your bolts, quote unquote, and what you had to do was actually attack a minority one-on-one and beat them down. So I earned mine years ago.
When he got the tattoos done, he didn't expect to have a family. And he came into our household, into our lives, and became the father, became a husband. And so he didn't know when he got him put on that he would end up in this position.
Did you scream?
No.
She's still complaining about it.
Last time she did that.
This is the Vinlander SC, which stands for Social Club. It's a neo-Nazi organization of a bunch of skinheads. I was a founding father of that club. I got Thug Reich tattooed on my belly. The reason why I got it was we were thugs. The Reich was for the Third Reich, the whole Nazi aspect. So I just kind of combined the two and came up with that. It almost became a motto for a lot of guys.
No.
Take one from the team. There you go.
I'm used to them because I got to know who he is, and like instead of like just being someone on the streets and seeing him and they judge him, I see him for who he is.
Blood and Honor was an organization that was created by the late Ian Stewart Donaldson, the lead singer of Screwdriver. It was a skinhead organization in the late 70s, early 80s. In the 90s, it split into two different factions, Blood and Honor International and Blood and Honor Combat 18. The Blood and Honor I belonged to was Combat 18, or C18. The 18 stands for 1 and 8 for the letter A and the letter H for Adolf Hitler.
You can have yours.
Is that good?
When I saw Tierson born, I mean, I saw God that day. That was one of the strangest, greatest feelings that I'll probably never feel again. You know, is The first time you ever hold a baby, that kind of love is just, it's amazing. It's truly amazing, and it's really hard to put it into words. I mean, every breath I take is for him. I mean, I just want to do everything for him, give him everything I never had. You know, I used to carry a straight razor, and I'd use it in bar fights and whatnot. I kind of put it on my face as more as a trademark and also a warning to people, you know, just basically to leave me the fuck alone or I'll cut you. So.
And how is carrying a straight razor different than some of your other crew members?
A lot of them carry brass knuckles or pistols, things like that. I like pistols just as much as the next guy, but I like the up close and personal battles. I always thought those were a lot more fun than, you know, sitting across the street and shooting at people. So the straight razor was just kind of my weapon of choice. Plus, a razor cut goes a lot deeper than, you know, just a regular stab. Usually, you can get some good meat on it. If I started getting into a situation I couldn't handle with just my fists and my feet, I would pull it out. Like, in a bar fight, if, you know, 3-4 guys decided to jump in on me, I'd pull it out and lay a couple people open, and then all of them wouldn't jump on me. It was a pretty good deterrent at that point. Or if I wanted to teach somebody a lesson that they couldn't forget if they ever wanted to, I would pull it out and cut them.
What do you think now of all these tattoos on your face?
They drive me nuts. It's just a bad reminder of a part of my life that I left behind.
Bryon Widner grew up in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
When I was about 3 years old, I moved in with my grandparents along with my little sister. My grandmother was a severe alcoholic. I was told that I was pretty well worthless, I wouldn't ever amount to anything, this or that. By the age of 13, 14, I just started running away all the time. I became a chronic runaway at that point, just started living on the streets.
At the age of 18, Bryon joined his first white power skinhead group, the Soldiers of the New Reich.
When I was a teenager, I didn't have any family. I had my friends, that's all I had. And basically, my crews were my family. I mean, statistically speaking, gang members don't join gangs because it's cool. They join gangs because usually they're street kids, they're destitute, and they have nothing.
As Bryon's appetite for violence increased, he moved to Indiana and enlisted in the outlaw Hammerskins, a crew started by hardcore skinheads who had been kicked out of the national umbrella group, Hammerskin Nation.
Hammerskins had such a reputation that they demanded respect, they demanded fear. I mean, if a Hammerskin came to a party, you knew it. And everybody, treaded very lightly around them. They were known for being incredibly violent, incredibly tough. So everybody was very weary around Hammerskins for the most part, and everybody wanted to join. I was what they call a pit bull. They'd point and I'd sick them. If somebody was, fucking with one of our guys at a bar or something, they'd just kind of point me in the direction and I'd go to fuck them up, basically. We were a very extreme group, and we were really hardcore. We put it out there on the internet, don't screw with us, we will kill you, and that's how we lived our philosophy, we will kill you. Extreme violence is a great way to make a name for yourself in the skinhead subculture. Skinheads embrace violence. That's their bread and butter, that's what they love, that's what they do. Every time we drove around, we had guns, ball bats, and knives in our cars. It could be, you see a black guy and a white girl walking down the road. We just pull a block away from them and get out and rush them. Have to go around the block to come up behind them so they can't escape. So they get sandwiched in and usually demolished pretty good.
How long would this usually take, this?
A beatdown? Usually just a couple seconds. I mean, a real long one would be like 10, 15 seconds.
It's really a hit and run.
Oh, yeah. And then we got out of there and we went and celebrated because we did a great thing. And it was a good time. Causing people pain was fun to us. Well, I went to the doctor yesterday and talked to him about getting my facial tattoos taken off and the ones on my neck.
What did they say?
Well, they can come off. That's going to be a good thing. He's going to do laser surgery on the 22nd. It's going to probably be very painful.
And you get a scar on your face and head?
I might. The possibility of scarring is there, but chances are pretty little.
That's good.
How are you gonna get them off?
With a laser. He's going to burn them off my skin, basically.
That's intense.
You're worried about Daddy getting his tattoos removed?
Yes.
You're afraid you won't recognize Daddy?
I wouldn't recognize him. His face would be different.
Face would be different.
Yeah. Daddy's handsome, though. He'll look great without him. He looks great with them, but it'd be great without him.
I think it might be a little painful for the healing, but I think I think he'll enjoy it and stuff.
I love the pain.
Are we enjoying the pain?
The outcome.
What do you think?
What do you think when Daddy gets his tattoos removed? What do you think? Racism just seemed normal when I was younger. I'm talking 3, 4, 5 years old. I still remember hearing my dad say the N-word.
After Julie's parents divorced, she bounced between her mother's home in Arizona and her father's in Detroit.
I had a very bad case of racism in me. Of course, I tried not to show my racism to my children, but if they hung around me very long, they'd know it because I was a racist.
As a child, we were taught that the minorities, blacks, were like a germ. You didn't go where they went. You didn't sit where they sat. We were better than them. That was normal. The only way to describe it is that the blacks and minorities were like a cockroach. They were like second-class citizens. I got started in the movement by my former husband. He had been in prison for 4 years and learned about the movement through the prison system.
At age 29, Julie joined the National Alliance.
The National Alliance is a neo-Nazi movement, and this particular organization is not the kind that goes around wearing swastikas and brown shirts. You know, they were looking for a more subtle member because they felt like if their members were in the system, they could make more changes.
We would take propaganda and distribute the flyers on people's doors and do these flyer runs to get media attention and try to recruit. War with a pen, I guess.
After 16 years in the movement, Bryon, along with his wife Julie, became disillusioned. Despite repeated death threats, they got out.
You have to understand this is a culture that in their minds they believe death before dishonor. And to them, dishonor is when somebody leaves the movement. So almost always the initial reaction is one of threats, one of potential assaults.
Bryon and Julie packed up their family, left their Michigan home, and moved to Tennessee to be close to Julie's father. But starting anew hasn't been easy.
I mean, when I was a skinhead, I really didn't care about work, you know. The only thing I cared about was getting in fights and getting drunk. When you have a family to support, it's a completely different ballgame. And usually it just boils down to they're going to make excuses on why they don't have to hire me, as opposed to just saying, well, we don't like the way you look. No one wants a circus freak next to him getting a paycheck, I guess.
Well, I feel like I'm going through it with him because I try to help him find jobs, looking online in the newspaper. And then when he comes back from job hunting, it's usually a very sobering experience for him. He gets depressed, and so I have to be the uplifter, cheer him up, and encourage him.
I know exactly what it's like to be a black man and have being discriminated against because of the way you look. I completely identify with them now.
Broke and without a job, Bryon had little hope of erasing his racist tattoos. Enter an unlikely ally. The Southern Poverty Law Center, or SPLC, is a nonprofit civil rights organization that tracks extremist groups and fights them in court.
Bryon contacted us because we had published an article about the Vinlander Social Club, which was an organization that he was involved in.
SPLC investigators Joe Roy and Lori Wood asked to meet with Bryon and Julie.
Hey, do you remember at Nordic Fest?
I've seen a lot of people that want to come out of the movement and just can't. Underneath all that ink was a family struggling to get out, to get back into society, and for themselves and for the children.
When we first met them, we were talking obviously about my facial tattoos, because that always comes up in conversations. And I was actually looking on eBay at the time for dermal acid to burn them off my skin.
When I first heard about that, I was terrified that they would even consider that.
The Southern Poverty Law Center offered to cover the cost of Bryon's tattoo removal procedures.
If I can prevent one other kid from making the same mistakes I did, if I can prevent one other family from having to go through the same crap that I put my family through, maybe I can redeem myself and maybe it'll be worth it.
The difficulty with Bryon is the number of them. I mean, it's just, you know, he's got so many. So the biggest challenge with him will be just a very large area of the surface of skin that we're going to have to treat.
Dr. Bruce Shack elects to treat Bryon's tattoos in a staged fashion, working on segments of his face and neck in a rotating manner. He anticipates the entire process will require 8 to 12 sessions.
I'm just going to give you a little touch test here, Bryon. That hurt?
Ooh, yeah.
Then we need to numb him up then, okay? You wouldn't want a lot of that then, huh?
No, not
okay.
at all. That really hurt.
Okay, all right. I'm going to give you some numbing medicine
Good,
here.
good response though, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Only hurt for a minute.
Yeah, this part will sting for a few seconds, but then it'll get numb. Unfortunately, for something like this, with these randomly placed tattoos, it's hard to do a single shot and get it done. You've got so much, and it's not the little needle sticks that hurt so much. This local anesthetic has a pH that's a little bit acidic, so it stings when it goes in. But during that process, especially when you're having to treat a large area, every little shot, you feel that sting. It's not a pleasant process.
Doing great. Just take some slow, deep breaths.
I know it.
Breathe in and out. Won't be much longer.
Nice and easy. This is another tender place here. Okay. No, that's tough. That's tough duty.
I used to tell people that all the time in the tattoo shop, and they're sissies.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, the coming off is frequently more painful than the going on, unfortunately.
Bryon receives approximately 30 injections on just one side of his face.
Okay. I know that's bad.
We still got to do the nose.
Yeah, I was kind of saving that for last. I wasn't going to bring it up till you did. I'm just going to start on this upper part of the nose where it'll be a little bit less sensitive. You remember how this tattoo felt going on, I bet. Almost done. I'm sorry, buddy. Almost done. That's it. That's it. Oh, man. That's it, though. Just hold some pressure there. Now we're going to wait a minute, okay? Let you catch your breath. That's the horrible part. All right, buddy.
I want to be in there. It's driving me nuts. I'm always there through his surgeries, through everything. This is just kind of strange because it's pointless, you know, for me to do anything, but I can at least hold his hand like I usually do. But I don't even think I'd be able to do that. I'd have to be in the other room anyhow.
I met Julie at Nordic Fest 2005. It was a Light Power concert out in Kentucky. You go out there and you camp and listen to, a few bands play and drink beer basically all weekend. And she was out there with the kids.
The reason my mommy and my daddy are married is because of me.
And why is that?
Because I wanted a picture with them.
She was probably about 2, 3, almost 3 years old. And she went up to him and she's up at his leg, tried to pull on his leg and wanted a picture with him. And
I remember that.
So I asked him, do you mind if she takes a picture with him? And she got her picture with him, and that's how me and Daddy met, huh? Yeah.
I got a picture with her, and then I chatted with Julie a little bit. She was just really cool, and I just thought, wow, she's just a really cool chick. And we really didn't talk a whole lot at Nordic Fest. We started talking a couple months later, actually, over the phone.
We'd have all these conversations late at night on what we wanted in life, how we both wanted a family, how our childhoods were.
She was easy to talk to. I always liked hearing her stories. I mean, there was just something about her.
I think a lot of times, even though we just talked on the phone, sometimes it's easier to get to know somebody because they're not afraid of you judging them.
One night after I got home from the bar, I got in a bar fight and I was pissy and I was about half drunk and I just called her up and proposed. I was like, fuck it, I want to raise a family now, I'm done with this. And I called her up and proposed and she accepted because she's crazy.
And we just got married at the Justice of the Peace. Yeah, to become engaged to somebody I'd only met in person once and talked on the phone for a couple months was pretty crazy.
I love my wife. My wife is my rock. She was a gift from God. That's all there really is to that. She saved my life.
Everybody goggle up is goggling up. Try this again, okay? That better?
Much.
We start with what we know will be a safe dose. We watch for the response. We don't want to see any bleeding. We want to just see that little white frosting on the surface of the skin. We're getting a really good response here, though, Bryon.
Good, good.
Some of these areas you can tell that the ink's a little deeper. Oh, well, like I said, you may feel an occasional twinge where you just have a little spot that didn't quite get numb. And that popping sound you hear is the exploding of that pigment as it breaks it up into smaller granules.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we're starting with the big area now.
How long is the numbing gonna last for?
It'll last for a couple of hours.
Okay.
And then you'll start to feel this burning as it begins to wear off. Oh, I'm sorry. That hurting?
We're good.
Let's get out of that spot. I'm sorry, Bryon. We're almost done. Turn your head towards me just a little bit, Bryon, that boy. I think that's got it. Okay. You did great, buddy. For a first round, that was tough, I know, but you did great. All right?
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, my friend.
The first couple hours after surgery, I was still numb, so that was nice. But after the Novocaine or whatever they used wore off, it felt like somebody took a propane torch to my face.
It was pretty scary. Woke up in the middle of the night, he was in a lot of pain, and didn't expect the swelling. So he looks like he's pretty miserable.
The doctor said it would feel like the worst sunburn I've ever felt in my life. Right now it feels like I got my head stomped in with a boot. Really no burning sensation at all. It's just all the swelling just really, really hurts. I mean, obviously it looks like I've been clubbed. So that's about how it feels right now.
And it's your face too. It's way more swollen.
Well, it's progressively swelling
Take
more.
off your glasses.
You keep telling me to do that.
Well,
but
because it
I
looks
have no
like
depth perception.
they look like it's. Oh my God.
It's just the area on the face, especially around the eye, is so
Was
sensitive.
it like that after you got tattooed?
Oh yeah. I mean, it wasn't this bad, but
Right.
I mean, when I got tattoos around my eyes, I ended up with a shiner. It's almost tempting to take a piercing and lance it just to get the pressure out, but that might just add more bad than good.
Here's them. Nice. Look at Daddy's owies. Look at Daddy's owies.
Daddy got owies. Daddy owie.
Hopefully the ice packs will make it go down. But yeah, it's not discouraging him. He says it's all part of the process. Don't like to see him in pain, but everything has a price.
Shortly before his second treatment, Bryon is visited by his old friend Eric Myring. It's the first time since leaving the Skinheads that Bryon has seen one of his former mates.
The first couple nights when we were together, yeah, we reminisced quite a bit because we hadn't seen each other in over 5 years. So there was a lot of emotion flowing between the two of us, the whole bromance thing going on, you know. But after the first couple days, it was just business as usual.
We're trying to get rid of some of the old racialist tattoos and some of the old, like, gang thuggery style tattoos and stuff like that, kind of brighten his image.
Just because I'm getting them off my face doesn't mean I hate tattoos. I still like getting them. Like on the arms and chest and back and things like that is still socially acceptable.
We've been planning on meeting up with each other since, like, about 6 months ago. I was kind of leery at first. I thought he was still with the club and it was kind of like a setup thing or something, you know. set up to get beat up, murdered, whatever, you know. I was pretty not popular in that club circle for a while.
Always suspicious of those we used to hang out with. I mean, it's...
We know what they're capable of.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
We actually met back when I was about 14 or 15 at a Klan rally out in Denver, Colorado.
Martin Luther King Jr. Day rally.
We were actually singing the praises of James Earl Ray.
Yeah, we used to joke about how it was called James Earl Ray Day, not Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
Yeah.
I got out in about, 2004, right around there. I had a little bit of a drug problem. Some people in the higher-ups had it out for me and stuff, so I was asleep on a friend of mine's couch and I got pistol whipped almost to death. And actually, those guys were gonna kill me and he kind of told them not to, so I kind of owe my life to this guy.
One of the guys in the club had it out for Eric real bad. We had a meeting, and the same gentleman was talking at the meeting about trying to put a hit out on Eric. And I was one of the two people that stood up and said no, just because, you know, it was enough that Eric was pretty well at that time blackballed, and we felt that was enough than to kill him for some dumb shit. And I could understand if Eric went off and killed this dude's son or something like that, you know, but because he had a drug problem, that's why this other guy wanted to put a hit on Eric. And that was the only reason he could give. Hi. Oh, you're just gonna come hang out, huh?
Hello.
Hi, buddy. Oh, son.
You got a loaded diaper over there, son?
No, he's just being a ham.
Fart?
Did you poo-poo? Go tell Mama.
I thought he did. I smelled it. I was like, who? Shit.
Go tell Mama. Yes, I love you. Go tell Mama. The night was pretty rough. I ended up waking up about 2:30, something like that, and falling back asleep about 4, and then getting back up at 7. The pain is the worst part. It really aches really bad. It feels like my face is just trying to bust out.
I just don't like seeing my dad. Like, it looks like he's like crying, but he's not. I just don't like seeing my dad like that. Now, I always ask him if he can see out of that eye, and he says not very well, because it's like his eyes all covered up.
I'm going to the pharmacy to get his prescription, his pain medicine. The second treatment has been a little bit harder for me to watch him go through because I know how much pain he was in the first treatment. It hurts to see people you love in pain.
It's incredibly painful on the next day. I mean, the swelling, there's just so much pressure on my face, and it just hurts. There was some swelling at the hospital, and by the time we got home, it was pretty poofed out. By about 10 o'clock last night, my eye was already almost this bad, and it just progressively just keeps getting worse.
Since Eric's come to visit, they've talked a lot, and I think it's brought up a lot of the old wounds from the past, stuff they did and stuff that he's been trying to forget, and I guess forgive himself for some of the stuff he's done. So bringing up stuff that he went through and he did and who he was, I think has made him really depressed lately.
Look at this picture here. This is Bryon when he started to get his face tattooed, actually. He's all mean mugging and drunked up in that picture there. Here's Bryon's patch, his old hammer skin patch, which I blacked out. It's right here. And, this picture here is a picture of the night that Bryon was made, and there's myself there. That was the night that I got put on probation. That was the night that he got made.
Yes, that was the night I took my oath as a hammerskin, which basically all the other MAID members stood around in a circle holding torches, and the person who was getting the patch had to go up to the president, and he put his one hand on a patch and another hand on a gun, and swore a blood oath basically to everybody within the club that they would be by him until their dying day and this and that you would kill or die for your patch.
this is like a defining moment for him and I both, like at this point in time, so.
That was about 15 months of hard work paying off for me.
That was the night that Mark made OS, too.
Yep.
And,
What's OS?
Official supporter. There's like levels of being, you know, becoming a Hammerskin. You got to be a hanger-on for, what was it, at least 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Then you had to be an official supporter for at least 6 months.
For 6 months.
And then you had to probate for at least 6 months.
You got to probate for a year.
And here's a picture of the Indiana Justice. It's
That was on Matt McGrath's forearm.
Yeah, that was a pretty notoriously well-known tattoo throughout the white power movement. This is a noose around his neck here. It's supposed to symbolize a lynching of a black guy.
Sitting back looking at all these pictures, kind of reminiscing. What goes through your head when you're doing this?
For me, it's like, I can't believe who I used to be, you know, in comparisons to how much I've changed and everything, and just like my whole thoughts about, you know, accepting other people, and just, it's hard, really. It's kind of hard. It's
Hard in what way?
I can't believe that I was that person, you know, that I had that, how do I explain this? Like that little respect for other human beings, you know, that little respect for other human life. Outside of the people that were in these pictures, I didn't give a shit about any other person that walked on the face of the earth. That was it, you know, that was our family.
When you get in the movement, it's almost like you alienate everything you know and everyone you know. It's like this is your new family and there's nothing else exists. Like he said, there's nothing else outside of this box, and that's it. You come to this thought that everybody outside of the movement, they just have no clue. You alienate them. I think it's a gradual thing, you know. It's like I went from talking to my mom to once a day to once a week to once a month, you know. It's like a cult almost. You just give up everything outside of it because everything that you're learning is right, and nobody else outside of this movement just has any knowledge. Like nobody has a clue, you know. So it's almost like a cult.
I have a hard time forgiving myself because I did a lot of bad shit to earn that piece of ink on my arm, you know, and the piece of cloth on my chest. It's like opening old wounds. And I just did so much bad shit to people that didn't deserve it, that every time I see these pictures or start thinking about it, that's what it is. And I can't forgive myself. And I was a grown man. I should have known better than to act like a stupid gangbanger, but I tried. And I know it says in the Bible, you gotta forgive yourself because God forgives you, but you know, I may be forgiven by him, but I'm having a hard time really forgiving myself for all the bad shit that I've done.
It's almost nauseating, isn't it? Like, sometimes it's like you look at this and it's like,
it's
wow.
disappointing. It's not even nauseating. It don't even make me angry anymore. It makes me disappointed in the decisions that I've made. You know, I lose sleep at night from shit that I did to people, or you know, shit that happened to me. I'll just lay awake and just think all fucking night long, and it's hard. It's really hard. I guess I haven't moved on. I'm trying.
You're kicking out some serious heat.
Sorry.
You okay?
Mm-hmm.
Is this stuff wearing off?
Mm-hmm.
It's Bryon's third treatment, but it's the first on his neck.
I'm gonna start slipping you some cocktails while we get these monitors put on.
Because of Bryon's neck sensitivity, the decision is made to use general anesthesia. Since he'll be asleep, Dr. Shack decides to also treat one side of Bryon's face.
Everybody goggle up is goggling up. Just like Will Smith said in Men in Black, difference between me and you, I'll make this look good.
All right, here we go.
When you run something so hot, eventually it burns out, and that's what we did with the Outlaw Hammerskins. We ran so extreme that everything burnt up. Me and Bryon James and a bunch of the other guys who hung around with the Outlaw Hammerskins decided we were going to start one more crew and make an attempt at taking over the whole white power skinhead movement.
They formed the Hoosier State Skinheads.
My role when we first started was basically to start chapters and then move on. I would pick up a chapter, set up leadership in the area, and then go to another city. And being in the tattoo industry, that was a perfect job for me. I didn't have family, so I just bounced everywhere. Any local skinhead crews, I would find anybody that was worth a fuck in the crews, recruit them, and then run off all their buddies. And that was basically what we did. We were on a mass recruiting spree so we could actually go against the Hammerskin Nation.
Bryon worked to set up skinhead crews in several states.
It was working out when it was like 2-3 states, but we had 5-6 states under our belt. So we decided, screw it, we're just gonna go under one banner.
The new banner became known as the Vinlander Social Club.
The Vinlanders pulled in other organizations like the Hoosiers and the Ohio State Skins, and their efforts were to be a little more radical than the Hammerskin Nation. In other words, if you bring a knife, we're gonna bring a gun. If you assault one of our members, we're gonna kill one of your members. The Vinlanders and the Hammerskins considered themselves at war with each other. There were skirmishes all the time.
As Bryon mass recruited, he sunk deeper into the depths of alcoholism.
I was drinking about a 30-pack a day, and if that didn't cut it, I'd go with a 30-pack and a bottle of Jack Daniels. I was literally drinking myself to death. I was miserable. I was absolutely miserable. So instead of trying to change it at the time, my out was death. And that's the skinhead philosophy, they're the retirement programs, either prison or the grave. And I didn't feel like going to prison, so that would have been the other alternative.
Easy then. Bryon, you hear me? Bryon, you're all done, buddy. Open your mouth up wide. We're just gonna take you to the wake-up room. You're all done, bud. Hey, Bryon.
Try to stay on your back.
Bryon, you hear me? Yeah. Just relax.
Stay right on your back.
Stay on your back.
There you go. There you go. Good job.
They're just putting some medicine on your face, okay?
The young males, they can kind of wake up. They're, showing their strength and stuff, wanting to kind of like conquer the world, but that's common. That is common.
Just go ahead and bring a stretcher in. We're just going to take you to the wake-up room.
I think he's more concerned about my stress level, than anything else. He just wants me to see him so I know he's okay. Because I'm a mom and I worry 1,000 times more than I should.
Well, right now his blood pressure is 179/108, so we definitely want to bring that down to his pre-op what he was.
It just hurts so bad, man.
I'm so sorry. Think about it.
I am.
Ron, is it getting any better?
No, it hurts like hell.
So 0 being no pain, 10 the worst, it's about a 10?
I'm thinking 11.
Okay. We think it's more pain and kind of just the anesthesia coming out of him, so too. He's shaking, he's got the basic things that we look for when people come out of anesthesia, so we'll bring it down. She's calming him a good bit, so if we can get that, we'll be good to go.
Okay, Bryon, I'm giving you some more medicine in your IV, okay? I was a little intimidated by both of them. My first impression of Bryon came from the other nurses. They told me he had a lot of tattoos on his face. They didn't really know exactly what all they meant, but they weren't good. I had never seen anyone with that many tattoos on their face, so it was a little bit of a shock.
All back here, the part in your neck.
All right, I'm gonna let you sign, and then
I'll give you this and we'll let you go.
don't sign any legal documents today either.
Yeah.
Okay, you have had general anesthesia.
She's in charge of you today.
She's in charge every day.
Okay, all right. Well, just even more.
You love me? Can you say that again?
I love my wife.
Thank you.
Y'all are precious.
She's a cute one.
No, you're the cute one. Y'all are both cute. How about that? My first impression, seeing Bryon he's tattooed from head to toe. He looks a little hard, you're kind of like, oh gosh, is he pretty rough, But we've worked with him so much now, and, you get to know him, and he's a little softy. He's not as rough around the edges as you think he is, and he's a great guy.
Well, I think he's making steady progress. It hasn't been quite as rapid as I had hoped it was going to be when we started this process several months ago.
All right, it may burn a little bit in your IV. I know you know that.
We talked about maybe we can get this done in 7 or 8 treatments, but it's going to take more than that, obviously. So this whole process may wind up taking 1.5 years before we're finished.
Following several treatments, the medical team alters their approach.
So now what we're doing, we've done the last couple of times, it's worked very well. We put him to sleep. Once he's asleep, then we give him the local anesthesia. Is everybody goggling up? Then we do the treatment. So when he wakes up, his face is still numb. So the numbing medicine wears off slowly over a few hours, and so the pain kind of builds slowly. He can tolerate it much better.
This also allows Dr. Shack to treat Bryan's entire face and neck every visit. Still, much of the ink lingers.
We just want to secure the existence of a race and a future for white children.
As a skinhead, you try to live by the 14 words.
It's our children and our children's children. These are our future. This is what we're in this for.
As I was progressing in these crews, I noticed that nothing was about the kids. These guys were abusive to their wives. Half of them couldn't hold jobs. They were felons. They would have bastards all over the country, not pay a dime into child support. I mean, they like to preach all this higher nobility, but nobody wanted to practice anything.
At the Nordic Fest where they met, Julie says she witnessed skinheads and Klan members having sex with underage girls.
Actually, there was 2 tents with girls in there, and the guys kept going in and taking turns having sex with them. They were running trains on the girls. And so in my mind, what I thought, these men do not give a crap about age. They don't care of, there's no, she's, an Aryan woman, we must honor her and, treasure the woman. There's none of that. It's ridiculous. They don't care.
When she told me about it, the thing is, I wasn't surprised at all. And at that point, I'd already been a skinhead for about 15, 16 years. Nothing was shocking anymore.
I myself had a girl that was 14 then. That moment that made me think that that could be my child is probably the moment of the turning point where I started questioning everything that I've been led to believe all those years.
There was plenty of times where, I'd see some of my brothers kick the crap out of their old ladies. I never looked at beating women as children as a glorious battle. I tried to live by the code of a warrior, and a code of a warrior calls for a glorious battle.
I had a really good friend, and she was 9 months pregnant, and her boyfriend of 10 years punched her in the eye. And this is the white power movement. And this happens all the time.
After a while, shit like that really eats at you. And then you just realize that all these things that you've been telling yourself for years upon years and other people have been telling you, it's all just bullshit.
We were both at the point where we were just like, whatever, this whole thing is just ridiculous. But we weren't really out yet. We were both in there just kind of hanging on by a string.
As Bryon and Julie struggled to escape the skinhead movement, they sought the counsel of a rival of sorts.
You don't have the right to make them know
I have every right.
No, you do it at the expense of my people. My people are allowed to.
Daryl Lamont Jenkins is an anti-racist who runs the website One People's Project.
Julie was, I'm guessing, at her wit's end. She wanted to talk to somebody. It's obvious that they're going through something. They're asking for my help. So, okay, you got it. You got it. I think of you as a human first. I don't think of you as an adversary.
Bryan's first conversation with Daryl lasted more than 3 hours.
He was educated. He knew what the hell he was talking about, and we liked a lot of the same shit. He was the son of a preacher, and he was in the punk rock movement out in New York.
Our conversation was about the music scene. We was able to get together on kind of like this common bond that we had with each other to begin with, and it just became something else as we went along.
And the more I talked to him, the more I actually realized that I had more in common with him than with some of the guys that I buddied up with for close to 20 years, He was just such a great and caring guy, but that really changed me in a lot of ways.
Hey! Good morning! Now, what about your hands?
What about him?
Do you want him to get this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
We'll do that today.
Okay.
I gave up on asking him to get his hands done because I figure he's going through enough with his face. So I said, okay, fine, I'll just shut up about it. And that tactic paid off. Because now he says he wants to get his hands done.
This is the first tattoo I got. I got no use for it anymore.
Everybody goggled up, just goggling up. Look at that response that we get with this. Amazing.
If I'm going this far to get all this taken off, getting the hands would be the next logical step. That way I could actually wear a long sleeve and blend in the best of my ability.
Even though, it's something he got as a teenager, rebellion. It's something here as an adult and as a father. We go up to the school and puts his hand on the counter, goes to shake someone's hand. That's all they see, it's hate. So for him to make that decision finally has been awesome. I'm pretty excited. Are you cold?
Hurts.
It hurts?
Hurts.
His hands are bothering him more than anything.
Is it your hands?
Yeah.
What is the pressure?
Well, that's all.
Just put it back on this side.
We treated his hands.
Where's Julie?
I'm gonna go get her. Okay, Bryon. Scale of 1 to 10. Is it excruciating? More so than usual.
Yeah, no, not me.
Julie and I connected at the beginning because she supports Bryon 100%, and I respect that from her. And it makes me feel good to be around family members that support their spouse and support their families 100%. I'm gonna get one more pressure, and then you can get dressed. You're juicy today, Bryon.
Yeah. The post-treatment of the hands, they swell up really bad like boxing gloves. The swelling throbs and kills. The worst part about it is you don't realize how much you use your hands for everything in the world until you can't use them. The pain sucks, but it's the frustration that really gets me.
After they married, Bryon and Julie's disenchantment with the white power movement grew.
I was apathetic and I just didn't give a damn anymore. I didn't give a shit about white people, black people, Jewish people. I didn't give a shit about anybody. And it kind of dawned on me that it wasn't that I hated everybody else, I just hated myself.
Then Julie became pregnant. It would be Bryon's first biological child.
And when we found out we were pregnant with him, I realized it wasn't about just me anymore. I had this baby coming and the partying had to stop. Being a derelict had to stop. But he really opened my eyes to what it means to be a man, basically, and to try to step up to the plate.
Bryon slowly withdrew from skinhead activities, spending more time with family and less time with the Vinlanders.
I was trying to actually provide food for my family, and the crew took a second place. It didn't have the priority that it once had, and everybody started getting kind of pissy about it. And eventually, Bryon James, the president of the club, called me up and said I had to make a choice between either my family or them. And so I chose my family.
Threats and harassment quickly followed.
There were calls at 3 o'clock in the morning saying, "We're coming to get you." Random phone calls, "You're gonna die, your family's gonna die."
Some of the threats we did take seriously because the guys that he was involved in are known to act violent towards others, even people in the movement.
I had to live on red alert. I wasn't sleeping at night because I was just wondering when 7, 8 guys were going to kick in my door and just start shooting everybody. I didn't want to let my kids play outside. I couldn't, in good conscience, let them play in a yard where somebody could just drive into the yard and run them over. And to put those kids through that was it was miserable on that aspect. Plus it was miserable that, if 7 or 8 of these guys decided to show up, that there was very little I could do about it besides just get myself killed and then let them have their way. It was hell, and it was hard.
After Bryon and Julie left the white power movement, the couple were being threatened by Bryon's former mates.
They take everything that you entrusted with them and they throw it right at you, and that's what they did to me. And I was pregnant with Tierson. I was so sick. I was, cramping up. We thought we were gonna lose him. That was the summer you had the nervous breakdown.
Julie and I got into an argument one day over some shirt on the clothesline outside. And she was hormonal, and I was dealing with her being pregnant, plus dealing with the club bullshit. I snapped and I threw her and Isabel out of the room, and I ate a bottle of pills.
I found the empty pill bottle and got him to tell me that he took them, and then got him to get out of the bedroom and get him downstairs and raced him to the emergency room. It was pretty horrible. It was one of those, I'm pregnant, don't leave me with all this stuff going on. I love you. We finally found each other. We have so much in common. I finally found someone that, relates to me and I can be myself too, and that knows me heart and soul. And I didn't want to lose him.
I was a roller coaster at that point. It was up and down. I was just a wreck. I got into mental care and started seeing a shrink to get my head back together. I made the decision to quit drinking then. It was incredibly hard because I did it cold turkey. I just quit drinking, and it was rough.
So he made the decision. Never once did I give him an ultimatum, not once, to quit drinking. He did all that on his own. Last treatment today.
Yep.
I can't believe it's been a year and a half.
It's been a long time.
It's unbelievable. It's been a long time, but I can't believe it's at the end. I think about him and how he feels, because I know why he got the tattoos on his face to begin with. And I wonder, because when he's quiet sometimes, how he's feeling, how he's thinking with the tattoos off, because he thought he was unattractive. I think he's extremely attractive, with or without them.
We've had some pretty great cases here at the Southern Poverty Law Center. This one, for me, has been different. It's an opportunity to see what life's all about. Life is about redemption, and we're trying to, find our way in life, and this is an illustration on steroids.
I'd like to personally thank the Southern Poverty Law Center. We wouldn't be making this change in our life because we would never have been able to afford it. We owe them so much. And this has been incredible. I'm gonna cry. This is it's been a great trip. It really has. Somebody cared enough for another human being, and another family to do this, to allow this to happen. I'm so incredibly grateful.
There have been a couple times when I wanted to throw in the towel, where I didn't want to do it anymore. It's been hard, it really has.
Hey guys. Are you ready for us yet? We're ready. Come here. Thank you for everything. For taking care of him. I just want to say thank you. This is our last treatment.
I don't really get sad.
Well, you're not.
We're not doing this. We'll see you again. Okay. We'll see you again. Okay. This is not a goodbye.
Shut up.
You guys are doing the
Julie,
girl thing.
I know. Because you guys have become like family, so it's awesome.
You ready, Ben?
Ready when you are.
All right.
Let's roll. This is number 25. And when we started this process months ago, I never imagined it would take this long. What he's done with his life has been remarkable. We're just proud to have been able to play some small role in this rehabilitation process for him, and hopefully this will be something that he will carry with him and continue to do well throughout the rest of his life. Anybody who puts himself through this much torture is bound to want to do something good with it once it's all over with, absolutely. Okay, that was it. Bryon, we're all done, buddy. That got it. We'll tell him again when he wakes up. But we're done.
Congratulations.
So absolutely. Long road. So let's get him wrapped up and bassied up. And it's been an interesting road. You know, we've gotten to know them so well. They've sort of become a part of our routine around here.
You've been awesome.
Yeah, well, we've been through a lot together, all three of
It
us.
truly showed us the meaning of family because,
Well, good.
you know, with what we thought, what we were into, there's no comparison on true feelings, you know.
Well, it's been our pleasure. It's been a joy getting to know you guys, and we're going to miss seeing you so much.
I know.
All right.
Do you want to get up, get dressed?
Sure.
Can I help you?
Sure. He's the one that brought the light. We just did the work. You know, he wanted to make these changes, and so it was very important for us to be able to try to help him if we could. And even though it took a lot longer than any of us ever expected that it would, I think we've wound up with what's going to be a very nice outcome for him.
Dr. Shack's office always treated me with dignity and with respect. To them, the tattoos weren't there. I was a normal person in their eyes, and that's rare for me. I never felt out of place there at all. They have always been so helpful, so sweet. I mean, I love those guys. I really do.
Now I'm getting to you.
No, no. Oh, my eyes are so. Bye.
Bye. Kiss the baby for me.
I will.
Bye,
You
Bryon.
too.
Bye-bye, Leslie. Take care.
Bye, guys.
I have my face back. It's great. I'm so excited. And, you know, I'm so blessed that the opportunity came to where I could get it done. You know, God's obviously smiling upon me for some reason.